What's up, guys, and welcome back to Overkill Gaming, your home for high-end gaming. Whether it's PC, PS5, or handheld, we got you covered. Before we get started, if I sound a little tired in this video, I've been sick the last couple of days, but I think the worst of it is over, so the show must go on. Nothing like laying in the bed sick with a Steam Deck to get you through it. And during this time, I had an opportunity to play around with Windows on the Steam Deck, and it made me aware of one minor limitation of the Steam Deck, that being SteamOS. Don't get me wrong, the SteamOS is very well polished, built from the ground up, specifically for the Steam Deck. It works perfectly. The main limitation of the SteamOS is the compatibility with a lot of games. There are roughly 5,000 games out there that have been verified and are playable on the Steam Deck. So there's no shortage of games to be played on the Steam Deck. That's not the issue. The issue is anytime you try to play a game that has an anti-cheat, which is basically 99% of multiplayer shooters, you're gonna run into some issues. And you guys know Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 is right around the corner. So this has become a bit of a concern for me as to whether or not that game would work on SteamOS. And so far, the only fix or workaround that I found that addresses this perfectly is installing Windows.
Come on now, dog. Come on, man.
The good news is that it's not very difficult to do, and it will open up your entire Steam library for play on the Steam Deck. And not only that, but then you can also play other games from other stores like Epic Game Store and so on and so forth that might have anti-cheat. So yeah, let's go ahead and hop on in here. If you guys enjoyed today's video, please make sure to leave a like on the video and also consider subscribing so that you don't miss out on any of our future content. Lots of great content on this channel for the Steam Deck, and we also cover PC and PS5. You don't want to miss out on any of that. All right, so before we get into how to do the dual boot, let's just go over some pros and cons to adding or dual booting Windows. So some of the pros are that you will be able to play your entire Steam library, not just the verified playable games, but also the games that have anti-cheats. PlayStation Remote Play works on Windows. So if you have a PS4 or PS5, you'll be able to link your PS4, your PS5 to your Steam Deck, and you'll be able to play your games on the go. Also, Xbox Game Pass works on Windows. Ray tracing works on Windows. The APU that is in the Steam Deck is capable of ray tracing, but it is not built into the SteamOS yet, but it is working in Windows. Also, modding games. You can mod your games easier in Windows. So just like I did a tutorial recently on how to mod Spider-Man, easy peasy on Windows. So you can mod your games on the Steam Deck. Now here's some of the cons. It takes a little bit of effort to set this up, and Windows isn't as quick or snappy as SteamOS. All right, so here's what you'll need to get started. First, you're gonna need an SD card, a micro SD card, preferably one that's pretty fast. The one that I actually use is faster than this one here. This is not fast enough for me, but it's fast enough to demonstrate how to do this. You're gonna need an SD card reader. This is one made by Anker. You can actually get this on Amazon for, I think it's like $10. And then a keyboard and mouse is preferable. You don't necessarily have to use a keyboard and mouse, but it does make it a lot easier. And also a hub to plug it into. And this is the one made by Anker. It has power delivery and USB and so forth. All right, so the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go to Microsoft.com and download the Windows ISO. And you can just type in Windows ISO and it'll be right here at the top of the list. And we're gonna be installing Windows 10. So we're downloading the installation media. After that, we're gonna need another piece of software called RUFUS, and this is what we're gonna use to create the bootable or the bootable drive. And this is exactly how it looks right here. And we're gonna download RUFUS 3.2. All right, and the next thing we're gonna download are the Steam Deck Windows drivers, which are provided by Steam. And all you got to do is just search for Steam Deck Windows drivers. It'll be at the top of the list. And here you go. You have all the drivers that you need all in one place here. All right, so we got 6 drivers to download: the APU, the Wi-Fi, the Bluetooth driver, the SD card reader driver, and 2 audio drivers. And then at this point, once we have everything downloaded, I'm gonna create a new folder just, to contain all of these things that we just downloaded. We'll just name it Windows Dual Boot. So first we're going to drag and drop all 6 of those files onto the desktop. All right, so we have all 6 drivers plus the Windows ISO and the media creation tool and the RUFUS program, and we're going to create this folder, and we're just going to throw everything in that folder. All right, now what we're gonna do is we're gonna extract all of these files. And this will just save us time so that we won't have to extract them later. Once we're in Windows on the Steam Deck, it'll already be extracted for us. All right, then we can just delete the zip files. We don't need those. And then we'll go ahead and create our ISO using the media creation tool. Okay, we're just gonna click accept. And here we want to select create installation media USB flash drive for another PC. And we'll click next, and ISO file is what we want to select here. Next, and then we want to have it created and put it into the Windows Dual Boot folder that we created. All right, so now we'll go ahead and click finish. And at this point, this is where you're gonna wanna insert your USB drive with your SD card into your PC. And we're gonna create the bootable drive using RUFUS. And when you open RUFUS, it should look just like this. And we're just gonna leave that as it is, disk or ISO image. We're gonna select our Windows ISO that we just created, which should be in our folder right here. Okay, and then right here, you wanna change this from standard Windows installation to Windows to go. And everything else you can leave the same. And then we'll click start. So, and then we'll choose Windows 10 Pro, but you don't have to choose Windows 10 Pro. You can choose any one of these that you like, but we're going with 10 Pro. And it's gonna format the disk and erase, or the drive, and it's gonna erase everything that's on it. And if you see an error message pop up saying something like the drive is not accessible, don't worry, that's normal. So this part of the process is probably going to take about 30 to 40 minutes. So we're going to let it do its thing, and then we'll be right back when it's complete. All right, so we're back. We finished the whole creation of the ISO. Now we have our micro SD card here. This is the one we're using. I do not recommend that you use an SD card like this at all, because it's just too slow. And we're using this Anchor $10 SD card reader. I will show you which SD card I recommend, the one that I use. If I'm going to recommend anything, it's going to be this one here. There might be better ones out there, but that's the one that I've used, and performance has been pretty good. So that's the one I'm going to recommend. The SD card that we're using today is solely for demonstration purposes. I do not recommend that you use this to dual boot Windows on your Steam Deck. It's just too slow. All right, so now we're going to take the SD card out of the SD card reader and place it into the slot at the bottom of the Steam Deck here. And then we're going to boot into the boot menu by holding down the volume down and the power button until we hear the little chime, and then we'll release. And that'll take us straight into the boot menu, and we're going to select the SD card, which is right here. I know it's a little bright, but you'll see it says SD card. So this portion of the process is probably going to take about 15 to 20 minutes, but we will speed it up for the sake of brevity. Now, what you're going to notice right away is that the screen immediately goes into portrait mode. This is normal. Don't panic. We're going to fix this later on. Just so you guys can get an idea of what it's like if you actually use a slower SD card. This is sped up 5 times, and I can tell you that using the SD card that I recommended earlier, this process would go a lot faster. All right, so now it's restarting. All right, so when you get to this point where it asks you to connect to a network, we're just gonna skip this part. We're gonna skip all that. And then go ahead and fill in your username. Click next. Set up a password. Confirm your password. Set up your security questions. All right. And we're going to skip all of this Cortana stuff. All right, so we'll go ahead and speed up this part as well. All right, so we're finally in Windows. So now we'll go ahead and install the drivers. So before we do that, we're gonna flip the screen to landscape. Now, do you see how long it's taken to respond? That's because we're using a slow SD card. And that's why I do not recommend using this type of SD card, but the one that I recommended, it will go a lot quicker. All right, so now we have the correct orientation. We'll go ahead and start installing our drivers, starting with the AMD APU driver. All right, and during the installation process, you will see the screen flicker and also flip orientation. That's not an issue. We will fix that once the installation is done. And we will flip it back to portrait mode. All right, so now we have the AMD driver installed. Now we're gonna work on the SD card reader slot driver. To do that, we click on the setup.exe file. And these should go by pretty quickly. And right here, we will tell it no. When it asks us, do we want to restart? We'll say no and click finish. All right, so now we have two audio drivers. Now this is a little different. Rather than clicking on a setup.exe, we're looking for setup information or the setup.inf file. And what we want to do is we want to right click on it, and then you'll see right here it says install. We'll click install, and we're going to do this for both of the audio drivers. And these go by really quickly. So there's one right there, done. And the next one is this NAU. That's another audio driver, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Setup information, right click, install. Boom, done. All right, so now we just have the Wi-Fi and the Bluetooth drivers. And on this too, you want to click on where it says install driver. All right, so that one's done, and just one more to go. All right, there it is. We have almost all of the drivers installed, and then we're going to do a restart of the Steam Deck. All right, and we're done. We have all of the drivers installed. So at this point, we will go ahead and do a restart of the Steam Deck. All right, guys, so here we are rebooting back into the Steam Deck, but we're not rebooting back into the same SD card. We're rebooting back into the SD card that I normally use, the faster one, which is the SanDisk Extreme. I just kind of want you to get a chance to see the difference in speed and how quickly this will load. So we did the whole volume down, power to get into the boot menu. We select our SD card. That's going to take us into Windows. And there we go. We're at the welcome screen. We'll go ahead and sign in. And there, you see how fast that is? That is the difference between using a slow SD card and a fast one. And we'll even go ahead and hop into a game really quick so I can show you. As you can see here, I have Steam installed, I have Epic Games Launcher, I have a PS Remote Play, so I can connect anywhere across the internet to my PS5, and I also have Ubisoft Connect on here as well. And by the way, if you want to play a game outside of Steam, you will not have controller support for the default controller on the Steam Deck unless you add that launcher into Steam. So I have Ubisoft Connect added into Steam as a game, and that way it inherits the controller support from Steam. So as you'll see, we'll go into a game in Ubisoft Connect. Now, if you don't want to do that, you can still play the game, but you'll have to use an actual controller, like an Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller. But if you want it to inherit your controller settings, you need to add it to Steam, just like you see right here. And I tried to make this video brief, but I wanted to make it detailed as well. I hate when content creators show you a game on the Steam Deck that they know doesn't just run perfectly or run right out of the box, and then they don't tell you how they got it to run. They just say, hey, look guys, I got this, I'm playing this on the Steam Deck, isn't it great? But they don't tell you, hey, this is what I had to do to get this game to run. And then when you go and you try to play the game, you end up frustrated because you don't know how to run the game, and then you ended up having to search the internet like I did to figure out how to get a lot of these games to run. So I did a lot of this research, searching, because a lot of the people that I watched, they would show you the game running and it'd be like, look how many frames there are and all this stuff, but then they won't tell you like, well, this is what I had to do. Not even in the description section would they tell you this is what I had to do. So some games that people show you, especially games that are not on Steam or games that have anti-cheats, I guarantee you that they did some tinkering to get that to run, and they're not going to tell you what they did. So over here on Overkill Gaming, we're not just an entertainment channel, we're also an information and education channel. This video wasn't easy to make. It took a lot of hours to edit and piece all this together and try to make it understandable and cohesive. So if you guys enjoyed this, if it helped you out, make sure you leave a like on this video, and also subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out on future videos like this. We plan on doing a lot more of these Steam Deck tip videos, as we see a need. When we come across a game that needs some tinkering, we will definitely share with you how we got that game to run. All right, guys, here we are launching into the Division 2, a game that is protected by the EasyAntiCheat, which has been giving us some issues over on the SteamOS side. But as you can see here on Windows, it's not an issue. Also, if you want to know how to add this overlay, you need to download the MSI Afterburner program, and it will also download with it the Riva tuner. And I might have to do a separate video on how to set that up, but it's not very difficult. But if you guys want to know how to set up that overlay, just leave it down in the comments and I'll make a separate video on how to set that up. So I just want to get into a game here real quick so you guys can see that the controller and everything works perfectly, because we added Uplay to Steam, and therefore it inherited the controller settings from Steam. Alright, if we could just figure out how to get out of this safe house real quick. But yeah, so far you guys can see that the joysticks and everything work. No lag. Here we go. Let's head out this way. All right, here we are out in the open world. Look at the frames. We're getting some pretty decent frame rates. game looks really, really good. Controls feel smooth. All right, let's try some of these other controls. We'll just shoot our gun here. So those controls work. Did a little ducking behind cover. There, everything works. So there you guys go. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, if you did, leave a like, subscribe. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.